Okay, so here I am in my kitchen. I'm working on this Schwinn approved hub. This is a made in Japan one. And it came with this thinner axle. And it was free-balled. So there was a lot of bearings in there. And when I had to put it on my Schwinn fork, that axle was so thin that with the dropouts on the fork, I had to kind of use these as a spacer to fit in the dropout, to space that correct. It's not the right thing to do. And it started making a clunking sound. So I took it back apart and I went through the bearings. These are the good ones. These are bad ones. I have one in the trash I should have kept. When I rolled it, it actually laid flat on one side. So it told me there was something up with the bearings. And so I took everything apart, and I've got a bunch of scrap, axles and whatnot in here that I save. So there's a parts bin I keep at home. And a bunch of stuff up here as well. So I found this fatter axle. And this fatter axle fits. And I just tested it, and I can free ball with it. Takes 9 bearings per side. And these extra rings, these rings here on the outside will fit even with this. And you're going to see that when I'm done. I may pause this and add that in a bit. So this axle is going to fit in my fork dropout better. And it's going to make everything better overall. So it's just one of those kooky, Klunkin ain't easy, make different parts work. And let's see what happens. So there we have it. This worked out, and it's interesting because there's, I don't know what it's called, and there's a kind of like this bearing race here that has this cover built into it, and that's what's on here, but it's underneath this kind of protective extra thing. I was able to get that on top of that other thing. So it's all packed with grease, so I think it's pretty interesting. The wheel spins great. I'm going to put it on the bike and see how it works out. This probably demonstrates exactly one of the main reasons why I'm single, by the way. Not too many women are going to let their fellas do this in the kitchen. And what I ended up doing here is just hodgepodging a bunch of parts. I haven't bolted it down yet. And I think on one side, I think the cone nut that goes up against the bearings is just slightly longer. So I put 2 different thickness lock nuts on there. I guess that's what I'm calling them. And I had to spread that fork to get this in. I might have to pick a different fork. But this thing's spinning sweet. You'll see it on the next ride.